What's the best affordable guitar for playing metal music? Believe it or not, this question is actually kind of involved, but not to worry, I break down the different aspects for you to help you decide which guitar is best for you. Hey, I forgot to tell you, stick around to the end of the video and you can see bonus chug tone tests for each of the guitars recommended. Or you can skip right to the end using the timestamps listed in the description below. So let's start this video with a frequently asked question. What kind of guitar can be metal? Well, you might be surprised by this answer. Just about any guitar can be metal. It all depends on what you're playing it out of, and if you're going to use any guitar pedals to help boost your sound. So why don't we take a look at some of the most common guitar shapes to help familiarize yourself with what you're looking at when you go guitar hunting. First up are LP style guitars. When you hear LP style, they're referring to the look of the guitar. These guitars look similar to Gibson Les Pauls, hence the LP. These are probably most commonly associated with classic rock, but that doesn't mean that's what they're limited to. All you have to do is check out the band Hatebreed to know that you can play metal with these guitars. The next style we have are Explorer-shaped guitars. One of the most famous musicians to play this Explorer-style guitar is Jaymz Hetfield from Metallica. His brand is ESP, but the body styles are similar. You can most definitely play metal on this style of guitar. Next up we have Strat-style guitars. This guitar right here looks like the Fender Stratocaster. Most Strat-style guitars have a 5-way pickup selector and a pickguard shaped just like this one. However, we also have the Super Strat style guitar, like this one. The Super Strat is an incredibly common shape for metal. The regular Strat is a little less common, but you could certainly play metal out of it. Next up are Telecaster shaped guitars. These are modeled to look like the Fender Telecaster. So if you see a guitar shaped like this, and you like it, and you want to know if you can play metal out of it, you most certainly can. Two more guitar styles for you. The SG style, made to look like the Gibson SG, or this PRS style guitar. If you like either of these styles, they can certainly play some metal. For the SG style, just think of Tony Iommi from Black Sabbath, and for the PRS, Mark Tremonti from Alter Bridge. Now we're getting into more of my style. I like the pointy-shaped guitars, and the most traditional pointy-shaped guitar is probably the Flying V. Dave Mustaine of Megadeth and Scott Ian of Anthrax both play Flying Vs. And my personal favorite would probably be X-shaped guitars or star-shaped guitars, such as the Jackson Warrior or the Dean Razorback. These guitars look incredibly metal, so it would be a real shame if you couldn't play metal on them. But guess what? You can. The next frequently asked question is, do looks matter? Of course not. If you want to rock and your guitar makes sound, who cares what it looks like? But also, yes, but only if you have options. Let me explain. Let's say you're fortunate enough to have $500 to spend around your birthday. Figure birthday presents and a year of saving up from mowing lawns. And you take that $500 and you go to Guitar Center. Assuming you've done some research, like watch videos like this, and you have a good idea on a quality to price ratio. Now you just have to decide which guitar speaks to you. And in this instance, this is where I say looks matter. You want to get a guitar that you really like, that you're going to be inspired to pick up and want to play every day. If you like the way it looks, and you think it's a badass guitar, the chances of you picking it up more frequently are a bit higher. But let me reiterate, if you just want to rock, no, looks do not matter. Now that that's out of the way, let's take a look at another important factor when making your decision. Price. Now, in my opinion, under the price umbrella is 3 important subsets. They are new versus used, name brand versus budget brand, or official versus replica. Don't worry, I'll break down all 3. First, let's start with the most obscure, real versus replica. What I have right here is an $1,800 Kirk Hammett LTD. It has EMG pickups and one finely crafted instrument. What I have here is a $250 replica from eBay. It has the ESP logo and even Kirk Hammett's signature at the top, just like his signature guitar. However, this guitar is only a replica, and clearly the inferior instrument. But is it $1,600 inferior? I don't know about that. These guitars are made in another country, but they don't have to follow copyright laws. So you can get a guitar that looks like a several $1,000 guitar used by one of your guitar heroes for a mere fraction of the cost. My opinion on replica guitars, I think they're pretty cool, but you definitely need to spend some money to put some upgrades into it. Once fitted with the upgrades, these replica guitars can be pretty cool, but they're definitely not my go-to recommendation. The next thing we have to consider when it comes to price is probably the most important part of the video. New versus used. Message. This black and red guitar is from the Ibanez Geo line. Ibanez's most affordable line of guitars. There's multiple versions of the Ibanez Geo, and this is towards the top end. To buy it new, it has a price tag of about $250. However, this guitar right here is the Ibanez RG. I was able to get it used for $340. And when comparing this RG to the Geo, I have to ask myself, well, does the RG play $90 better than the Geo? You bet it does, and a whole lot more. In my opinion, this Ibanez RG is light years ahead of the Ibanez Geo. But because I was willing to buy it used, I got it for just a little bit more money.
Message!
So in my opinion, buying used guitars is the way to go. And I think new versus used is a perfect segue to this next piece. Buying name brand or the budget brand. Before I jump into that, let me tie this to the last little segment. This budget guitar new cost me $250. This made in Japan Jackson Professional is worth about $850. But it also cost me $250 because I bought it used off of Facebook Marketplace. I have to admit, it was probably one of my luckiest scores off of Facebook Marketplace. Although it was a rare find, my willingness to buy used guitars is what led me to find this gem in the first place. But back to the original question, name brand versus budget. We live in a great era to be guitar players. Budget guitars are now better quality than they've ever been before. And when you compare these new budget brands with the budget-friendly lines from the name brand guitar companies, you have quite an interesting head-to-head battle. This Jackson Warrior from the JS line, you could buy it new for about $420. As I said before, this Westcreek Cerberus guitar, you could buy it new for about $250. In my opinion, you can get a set of amazing pickups, put it in this guitar, and for the same price as this guitar, have an awesome shred machine with great pickups. If I had to choose the Westcreek Cerberus with some Seymour Duncans versus the Jackson Warrior with the regular Jackson pickups, I'm going with the Westcreek Cerberus. So if used gear isn't your thing, definitely consider budget guitars with a minor upgrade. You'd still be coming into a similar price point to the budget line of guitars from the name brands. The next thing to consider when you're picking out your metal guitar is what are you going to be playing out of? Behind me you have a few different options. Let's take a look at them. This amp right here is the infamous Line 6 Spider 3. This whole thing is one unit. You plug in here and use these knobs to adjust your settings. This amp has distortion and many other sounds built into it. It's known as a combo because it has the speaker as well as the head all in one. If that sounds a little confusing, not to worry, because that takes me to the next option. It's two separate pieces. The guitar head plugged into a separate speaker cabinet down here. This is actually the Boss Katana 100 watt head and the Harley Benton 2x12 cab. I saw this exact combination in an Ola England video where he recommended the best rig for under $600. I'm incredibly happy with this setup, and it's definitely my go-to for the live sound. And just like the Boss Katana and the Harley Benton cabinet, I have a mini half stack by Guitar Research. Again, you have the head where you plug your guitar into with the knobs to adjust your settings. Below it is the cabinet which houses the speakers. The Boss Katana has several different distortions as well as other sounds built into it. The Guitar Research half stack only has a high gain channel. If you want other sounds, you're going to have to use some guitar pedals, such as a distortion pedal. But that's not all. In 2024, you can plug directly into your laptop and use an amp sim. If you're not sure what that means, it's a computer program designed to make your guitar sound like it's coming through an actual amp. Technology has progressed so much, it's getting harder and harder to tell the difference between an amp sim and a real live amplifier. Now you might be wondering why that even matters in the first place. Well, I'll tell you why. Using amp sims, I was able to make a $180 guitar sound similar, not exactly, but similar to an $1,800 guitar when trying to get a high gain metal tone. So what you're playing out of, especially the speaker cabinet, is going to have a large impact on what your guitar sounds like. And the last thing you have to ask yourself when picking out a metal guitar is, can it do the thing? What thing am I talking about? Well, that's up to you. Let's say you want to do some of those high squeals or dive bombs. You're going to need a whammy bar. And if you have a whammy bar, you're going to need a Floyd Rose type tremolo. This right here is your whammy bar. This right here is your Floyd Rose. What's a Floyd Rose? It helps to keep the guitar in tune when using a tremolo bar. Can it do the thing is an important question, because this right here is another guitar from the same brand as the red one, Jackson. However, there is no tremolo bar, nor is there a Floyd Rose. So if you wanted to do those dive bombs, guess what? This guitar can't do the thing. So at the end of the day, how do you know which guitar is right for you? I think if the price is affordable and you like the way it looks, you're halfway there. Unless you've played a lot of different styles and brands of guitar before, I recommend going to your local guitar store and trying out a guitar similar to the one you want to buy, if not the actual guitar you want to buy. Make sure you like the way it feels, because that, above all else, is most important. As someone with a massive guitar collection, here are the brands I recommend. So to end this video, I'm going to drop 2 lists on you. My top 5 favorite name brands, as well as my 3 favorite budget brands. And with that, starting with the name brands. The first 2 brands that I think are great for metal are going to be Schecter and Ibanez. Both brands make great instruments, and I reach for them often. My next 2 choices definitely wear the crown when it comes to different shapes of guitars. Of course, I'm talking about BC Rich and Jackson. As I said earlier in the video, I love the star-shaped, X-shaped guitars, and both of these brands have a lot of options in that style. And my last pick for name brand guitar is going to be ESP Ltd. There's a reason so many guitar heroes choose this brand. They've stood the test of time and continue to be at the forefront when it comes to making quality metal guitars. Now on to the budget brands. There's a lot of quality budget brand companies making good guitars these days, but my top 2 favorite are going to be Firefly and Harley Benton. Most Firefly guitars are sub $200 and easily come with the quality of a $500 guitar. The price of Harley Benton can be a little bit more expensive as the specs go up. For example, I have a Harley Benton EX with EMG pickups in it. Still, with EMGs, the Harley Benton is one of the more affordable guitars that I own. So that being said, Firefly and Harley Benton are at the top of my list. I know I only said 3 budget brands, but I decided to make it 4. Jaymz and Westcreek, 2 brands you can find on Amazon that usually come with free shipping. I think both brands are making quality guitars for relatively cheap. And if you're willing to change out the pickups, you have quite the guitar for under $500. that's going to do it for this one. If you like what you saw, consider hitting the subscribe button. Anyway, I'm the Tatted Bald Guy, reminding you, it doesn't matter the genre, good music makes your head nod. I'll see you in the next one. Peace!